What are the rules of keto? So there aren't any rules, but there are definitely guidelines that we can follow. So I'm going to go over those today. The first one is cutting the carbs. So thinking about getting into a state of ketosis, the number one thing you have to think about is reducing your carbohydrate intake. So when we're talking about that, generally reducing your carbs to 50 grams or less per day is going to be a great place to start, and then you can titrate up or down depending on how you are personally responding. Some people will be able to get into ketosis with a little bit higher carbs versus others may be a little bit lower carb. So start with about a total of 50 grams per day and titrate up and down as you go. So the next thing to think about is protein intake and making sure that you're getting enough protein throughout the day. So this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they're transitioning to a ketogenic or low carb diet, is that they're reducing their protein too much. So we want to make sure that you're getting adequate protein throughout the day, because we know protein is super, super important for so many different reasons. Making sure that you're staying satiated throughout the day, making sure that you are maintaining your muscle mass. It's important for longevity. There's so many different reasons why protein is important. Those are just a few of them. So in terms of determining how much protein that you need throughout the day, there's a few different ways we can go about this. The first one would be thinking about it in terms of body weight. So if you are on the leaner side and you don't have that much body fat, a good place to start is about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein per day. If you have more body fat or you are, have more weight to lose, then you can think about determining your protein intake based off of your height. So you would take your height in centimeters, and that would be a good way to gauge how much protein you should consume per day. The next way to determine how much protein is just thinking about simply in terms of how many meals you're eating, and thinking about getting like 1 to 2 fist size of protein in each of those meals. So if you're eating 3 or 4 meals a day, 1 to 2 fist size of protein is going to be a good general guideline to have. So one of the biggest mistakes I see is neglecting protein when you first start a low carb or ketogenic diet. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that you're getting adequate protein throughout the day to support all of the processes that protein is important for. So the next thing to think about is getting enough healthy fats throughout the day. So you want to make sure that you're consuming enough healthy fats, but not too much. So that's another mistake that I see people make, is thinking that they need to consume tons and tons of fat throughout the day, adding like sticks of butter to their coffee and tablespoons of oil. You don't need to do that. A little bit goes a long way. So we want to make sure that you're consuming enough healthy fats to fuel yourself throughout the day, to get enough energy to help ease the transition into ketosis by utilizing fat for fuel, but not overdoing it. So thinking about getting enough monounsaturated fats, so things like avocados, olive oil, olives, things like that. Some saturated fats, so butter, coconut oil, the fats that you would find in meats and fish, things like that. Those are going to be your main sources that you want to focus on. And ideally, you probably want to avoid the more processed fats, so like the vegetable oils, the factory-made fats, and things like that. So fats are super, super important to make sure you're getting enough throughout your day, but we definitely want to make sure that we're not overdoing it. Last but not least, you want to make sure that you're replenishing water and electrolytes throughout your day. So this is another big mistake that I see a lot of people making, is not paying attention to getting enough hydration throughout the day, so water, and also electrolytes. So mainly sodium, potassium, magnesium. Sodium is probably going to be the most important one that you want to make sure you're replenishing. So adding salt to your food, having certain electrolytes within your day. So getting some electrolyte powder and throwing that in your water and sipping on that throughout the day. That's going to be super important, because when we transition into a ketogenic diet, or when we reduce carbohydrates in our diet, our body actually tends to release a lot of water. And with that water, it's going to take sodium with it. And so if we're not replenishing that sodium and also replenishing the other electrolytes like magnesium and potassium, we are going to feel like crap. So you need to make sure that you're replenishing sodium mostly from salting your food and maybe adding some salt to your water. And then you're gonna get most of your replenishment of potassium and magnesium from your food. So making sure that you're getting a good variety of whole foods throughout your day. That's gonna be super important. And then, like I said, you can also supplement with an electrolyte powder. That's gonna be important to make sure that you're staying on top of. So if you're interested in an electrolyte supplement to take, I really love Ultima Replenisher. So I use this to make electrolyte jello and electrolyte gummies. Cherry pomegranate is probably my favorite flavor, but they do have a ton of flavors out there. Tastes really good. You can just add it to your water, or like I said, make jello or gummies with it. Another brand that I like is Element, or if you're looking for a pill form of electrolytes, Perfect Keto has a capsule form or a pill form that you can just take with water. In terms of magnesium, if you're eating a whole foods diet, like I said before, you should be pretty good on getting enough magnesium throughout the day. But if you really want to optimize that, it might be beneficial to add a magnesium supplement in at the end of the day. So we know that in our current world that we live in, we have the soil that our food grows in. It tends to be a little bit depleted in minerals nowadays than they were maybe 100 years ago. Replenishing magnesium can be super important, especially if you are noticing that you're having more muscle cramps, or if you're having a little bit of a harder time kind of winding down at night. So supplementing with a magnesium supplement at night can be beneficial. Thinking about making sure that you're getting an absorbable form of magnesium that your body can actually absorb and use. So there's tons of different types of magnesium out there. So magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, magnesium threonate, those are a few of the top ones that I would recommend in terms of their bioavailability, or basically just your body being able to absorb them and utilize them. So that's something to think about. And again, I would think about getting it or taking that magnesium supplement at night because it can help put you in a more relaxed state and help you wind down. Generally starting around 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium is going to be a good place to start. So if you want a little bit more in-depth on the keto flu, what it is, and also electrolytes, so going more in depth on the amount of sodium, magnesium, and potassium to replenish and the sources to get them from, you can check out my other video on what the keto flu is. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn more about nutrition, fitness, or metabolic flexibility, you can check out our website, metflexlife.com. There you can find our podcast, MetFlex and Chill, our nutrition and exercise programs, our latest blog posts, free recipes, and much more.